Poor John Wick just can't catch a break. NERDSoul. Late Ill Kill at OneYoungsta, holding down, bringing that StreetGeek and NERDSoul. And what is up, my people, today? Oh yeah, we're about to get into another wonderful movie review for you. Oh man, I'm so excited to talk about a movie that I love. You know I'm an action guy. I hope my action people are here. So let's rejoice for John Wick 2. Now, before we go any further, this is a spoiler review. The movie has made its theatrical run. It's out on home video. You should have seen it by now. If you haven't, don't watch this because we're going to talk about it. And in this case, this is going to be similar to my Silence of the Lambs review, where basically I'm just going to talk about my favorite moments, and hopefully I can get you guys down in the comments to chat with me about your favorite moments. So let's talk about that opening sequence. Man, when the movie starts, I had no idea that we were going to be starting basically just like days, like the same week or whatever as the last movie, you know, from when the last movie ended. So that means that John Wick has had a rough past 2 weeks or so. Like this has been a nonstop, you know, couple of days, a couple of weeks for John Wick. I mean, the dude's already been, let's imagine, from the first movie, dude's been like, shot, stabbed, hit, beat up. I think he fell down some steps, all kinds of crazy stuff. And he's still continuing on his run. And the cool thing in this is that you finally find that, all right, I found where my car is. And the guy that has the car is just sitting there like, I'm not going to give his car back. And even what seems to be like his general or his number one, it's like, dude, why don't we just give him the car? And look, if that was me, I'd have just gave him his car. I would have literally took his car somewhere, parked it in some neutral location, like a Target parking lot or something. I would have called him up, been like, look, I know my brother is tripping. I know my nephew was tripping, but I ain't got nothing to do with you, man. I parked your car. The keys are in there. They're in the little flip visor thing. It's all yours. We all love here. And he wouldn't have had to get so many people beat up because, all right, this is what happened. This is the sad thing about being in the drug game or being in the crime game. This dude got mad random people beat up because he wouldn't give the car away. Imagine this. There's mad normal people all through this joint just getting thrown, tossed. And this is just the opening sequence. We haven't even got to the movie. They getting beat up, shot in the legs, all kinds of mess because you won't give a car up. But I digress. In the film, when we actually get started after that sequence and he gets his car back, you get to see John Leguizamo come back in. You see the scene from the trailer where he talks about this.
Let me know when it's fixed.
All right. They'll be ready Christmas 2030.
And I agree with him, man. The shape that car is in is, you can't just buff that out. But it's nice to see his camaraderie, his friendship, or I guess as much friends as you can be in a business like this, his friendship with these people that, you know, he's come across in his lifetime, and they just see him as like, yo, this is John Wick, man, this is what he does, and, you know, I'm here because he's my boy, sort of. And we get into a situation where he's contacted by this man who, you know, says he has a marker for him, and he has to accept that marker because that marker, of course, ties back to the Baba Yaga, where he completed this impossible task, and that man helped him. And it's D'Antonio, I can't remember his first name, but he, you know, wants this marker to kill his sister, which is sick. Let's just stop for a moment. Look, if you want to kill your sister, get some counseling. And I'm not talking about kill your sister like normal kill your sister, like I can't stand my sister. But he wanted her dead, all right? Like really dead, like funeral, black roses, all that dead. And yo, what is up with you, dude? But anyway, that's his life, that's his family, that's what they do. I ain't gonna talk about them. So he comes to, you know, John Wick. John Wick's like, yo, man, I can't do this. You know what I'm saying? I'm retired. And he's like, no, you ain't retired. I heard that you killed all these Russian dudes. You back in the game. And to a certain degree, from his perspective, I can see where he's like, yeah, you're back in the game. But in context, no, he's not. He just did this because they made a transgression against him. He did that. And that's it, man. Just let the man live. Like, why are you trying to force him to do something? This ain't got nothing to do with you saw he was back in the game. This has to do with you trying to get your sister killed, man. And, like, you can find any number of assassins. But the thing is, you want to tie up your loose ends because you want to have your cake and you want to eat it too. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. That's right. I'm going to tell your parents because you don't be needing to kill your brothers and siblings and stuff. But John Wick is like, no, I can't do it. You need to leave. Dude leaves and straight grenade launches the whole house, man. John Wick explodes. I don't know how the dog ain't tripping, but the dog is safe. And, everything's on fire, burns up all the pictures and everything of his wonderful life with his wife and all this mess. And it really messes with him to the point where it's like, dude, this dude has lost everything. You can't just let him live. You can't just let this dude live, man. You can't just let him be himself. So before I move on, let me remind you can find me on Black Hollywood Live. That's right, first online network for African Americans, super dope. They got after shows, celebrity interviews, sports talk, geek, nerd, tech, all that. And you can find them on youtube.com/Black Hollywood Live. And once you check them out, don't forget their website that keeps up on blog posts, all kinds of cool stuff at blackhollywoodlive.com. So how do you guys feel? Like, do you think that it's fair to pull him back into the game like this? Like, yes, he has the right to, because he has the marker. He got that bloody thumbprint. It is there. But is it right? Because I feel like you see the guy, he lost his, he lost the dog, he lost his wife, and it's not, he says like, it's just over a dog. No, it's what the dog represented, man. It's what it represented and meant to him. And I feel like, let the man live. You know what I'm saying? He got out the game. He didn't want to do this no more. Leave him alone. Let the man do what he got to do. But no, see, you're trying to force people to do stuff. And when you force people to do stuff, you got to pay. So, of course, John Wick, he's forced to do it. He goes out. He's in Rome. He has to kill his sister. He meets up with Gianna, who is the guy's sister, and she has this nice conversation with like, yo, I want to go the way I want to go. Homegirl slits her own wrist, laid up in the pool. And, of course, John Wick had to make sure the job was done, so he, right in the head. This is where things get messed up, though, because John Wick held up his marker. He was like, yo, look, you forced me to do this. I came in, your sister's dead. Everybody should be happy. But no. Now y'all trying to come up in the catacombs and kill a brother. Now, the cool thing about this is that even though they double-cross John Wick, and it's bad for John Wick, but it's great for us because we get to see some of the coolest gun kata, yes, I know that's another movie, gun kata / gun fu that we've seen in a long while. And it's almost like, I know this is not a direct comparison, but you know how you had the Raid and then you had the Raid 2? It's almost just like we had John Wick and now we got John Wick 2. I feel like they knew what they did right and they ratcheted that up. They kept the same intensity. Like when the biker gets hit by the car, like you feel that hit. When John Wick gets hit by the other car and falls on his car, like that stuff, you feel those hits. And even like when he brings out, what is it, like the Mossberg or whatever, when he's shooting dudes with the shotgun, like straight point blank, even when you put it up to that dude's chest, like you feel those shots. And that's what I love about this movie. So before going any further, because I have many more moments that I love, straight up, 5 stars for John Wick 2. I'm an action guy, always have been an action guy, and this movie checks all my boxes. We got travel, international travel at that. Then we got a crazy city that turns on you. We're going to get to that. Then we got, beautiful women, bullets, cool scenes, all kinds of mirrors and stuff. And we're going to get to that too. It's a lockdown, drag out, slam dunk of a film. Yo, I'm impressed. And I can't wait to see John Wick 3. But let's get back to some of my favorite moments. That moment when D'Antonio puts the hit out on John Wick and like sends it out to everybody. And I'll get to the lore in a second, but it's cool how they were able to call into this special, I guess, assassin hotline telephone thing, and they put the call out to everybody. That to me is a great way of expanding the lore. And we're going to get to the lore in a second because I think that's something that's very important that this movie does right. So all the assassins, they get the text message, and it's cool to see a city of assassins turning on John Wick. And it's just, dude can't get 10 steps without having to fight somebody. He has to fight in the park. He has to fight in the subway. He has to fight in the streets. Like, there's all kinds of places where people are just attacking him, running at him. And the weird thing is that normal citizens, especially in the subway, when he meets Common for the second time, or is it the third time? I guess you could say it's technically the third time. In the subway, the New York subway, pedestrians, riders, patrons, whatever, they are extremely casual about fights to the death. Almost too casual. But I love this movie. And to the lore, what I love about this is, in the first movie, we learned about the Continental. And it was this hotel, you had to go there, and under their roof or whatever, there was no business to be conducted. And now we find out that there's a network of Continental hotels all around the world where, I guess, you can relax in style as an assassin, you know what I'm saying? Kick your feet up, you've been assassinating all day. You want somewhere where you can put your feet up and relax. Come on down to the Continental. But it's very nice to see that not only is that lore expanded, but we hear about this thing called the High Table, which I guess is the governing body of assassins. They don't really spell it out for us, but I'm assuming that they kind of do. And then also the patchwork, or the different call-in numbers, and the ladies that are working the telephone operators. Like, that's cool. Like, all of this stuff is really well thought out and very well laid groundwork. But this whole city turns on him with this text message, and there's so many great fight scenes. But what really works is the way he gets to meet Lawrence Fishburne. There's no Matrix references. I really wish there was, but we're going to move on. And we get to see the interesting perspective from the eyes of homeless people. If you have enough of those people stationed around posing as homeless people, like, you kind of do have like your own CCTV. Like, Lawrence Fishburne had that on lock. But the cool thing is that, like, Lawrence Fishburne was able to help John Wick get to D'Antonio because John Wick lives by a code, man. Like, he said John Wick snuck up on him, and he cut his neck, and he was like, "Look, man, keep your pressure on, and I won't hit you, I won't hurt you or whatever, and you can heal yourself." Just like with Common, he's like, keep the knife and get some betadine or something, and you get a Band-Aid and a bandage, and you be cool. So it's like he doesn't kill people he doesn't have to, and I think that's why John Wick is not only feared but also so respected, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, dude's like one of those OGs that lives by the code of like, yo, yeah, I'm in the game, but I'm not just gonna kill people just because it's fun. You know what I'm saying? And that's what breaks my heart about the end of this film, when he catches up with D'Antonio or D'Antoni or whatever, and dude is mouthing off, and he shoots him dead in the Continental. And even in that shot, when that happened, I was like, because I didn't know what was going to happen next. Well, I mean, I know what's supposed to happen next, but I was like, will they kill John Wick? And the cool thing is that even though he had to be excommunicated, Winston said it, it was still one of those things where he was like, look, I'm going to give you an hour. And we end the film on him just rushing out. And you kind of just feel bad about John Wick. You know what I'm saying? Just real bad. Because it's like, this dude, he don't deserve this. You know what I'm saying? He don't deserve this. But I want you guys to get down in the comments, holler at me. I'm gonna holler at you about our favorite moments of this film. So I've saved my favorite moment. Here's my favorite moment. When they're in the museum and they're in that mirror part, which is, it's almost a perfect updated version of the Enter the Dragon scene from so long ago. And I love the way it's shot. the way it's handled, the intensity that it brings, and just the suspense that you have between all these characters. Also, we put that girl that was doing all that sign language, trying to be smart, we put her to bed. But I love that scene. I think that might be my favorite scene in this film, but this film is just put together well, man. I really enjoy this joint. And I hope you enjoyed it too. So like I said, jump down in the comments, holla at me. I'm gonna holla at you. And don't forget to hit up ThatNERDSoul.com. That's right. Check me out from the oldest, newest, latest, greatest. All my videos are right there for your consumption. Then hit up shop.thatnerdsoul.com and pick yourself up a t-shirt, player. And don't forget one for them playettes. And thank you guys for hollering at me, sharing those links for Patreon. Then come back here, like, comment, subscribe, and share that nerd soul. That's right. There is no better way that I can tell people that you like what you are watching. Yo, them shout outs. LA, what up? VA, what up? RVA, you got my heart. And please be good to yourselves and be good to each other. And if someone leaves the game, let them leave, or you're going to end up dead. Peace.